Anyway, our speaker today, wow, I think this is the biggest crowd we've had maybe ever. I don't know, I don't think there's an empty seat in the room. We're going to have to start bringing in extra chairs or something. Maybe it's because of our speaker. He's so interesting. Our speaker is the son of a former district governor, somebody I did many cruises with his dad, and he owned a cruise center and a zillion other businesses, and he left the world too soon. But he left us with a wonderful son who has an amazing life that I couldn't really believe. He's traveled all over the world on his motorcycle, and somewhere along the line he fell off his motorcycle and fell in love with somebody in Argentina who he's going to introduce, and he has a home in Argentina. I don't think too many of us have homes that far apart. He lives in Olympia part of the time, where he sees his mother, and the rest of the time he lives in Argentina with his wife, who travels with him very often. She's, I don't want to say too much about her, but she's a retired attorney. A lot of attorneys in Rotary. Without further ado, Dave, you're going to entertain us with your amazing life.
Thank you, Dick. Appreciate it.
That's interesting.
Stanton, can you get the projector to light up? Thank you.
Does it normally turn itself off?
Yeah, well, it knows what's coming. Wow, I've never in my life imagined I'd be introduced by Dick Poos to speak. He's my hero. I grew up listening to him on the radio. Whenever I hear it, even when I call him now and I get his voice message, it's like, wow, Dick Poos. And I also just want to make a quick shout out to Mike Murphy on Zoom. You there, Mike? Yeah, I think he was there.
He was.
He's my cohort in the Rabies Project and mastermind of it, so I want to welcome him. And I also want to start by introducing my wife. If you don't like what you hear today, you can blame her, because I wouldn't be here talking about this if it wasn't for her. My wife, Patricia Bazal, she's from Buenos Aires. She spends about 3 months here a year, but home for her is Buenos Aires. And just to set the stage, some of you may not know me very well, but over the past 10 years, I've split my life between split my life between Buenos Aires and Olympia. And my wife and I met back in 2014 or 2015, and got married in 2018. And I'm going to cheat by looking at my notes here, because since 2014, how many of you keep track of where you stayed every night for the past 11 years? Well, I do that. And I have spent 1,889 days in Olympia, 1,203 in Buenos Aires, and 1,287 in other parts of the world, mostly on my motorcycle. I lived 12 years in Japan, 7 years in Edmonton, Alberta, and 10 years now in Buenos Aires. And I've been to 160 countries, and still planning to go to more. My wife does have some say in that now, though. North Korea is one she just doesn't want me to visit. People always ask me, I've never had trouble with language barriers, having lived in foreign countries. And I always say that no, I've actually become quite fluent in 3 universal languages: pointing, nodding, and looking confused while smiling politely. Sienna, you can get used to that too. When you go to Finland. So, with that, konnichiwa, buenas tardes, Good afternoon, everyone. Now, this is kind of going, I'll show you a few pictures first, only because Dick put in the notes of the speaker today that I would be bringing pictures. So I felt obligated. I have a few. Tokyo, Japan, 1980, my first motorcycle. Had no gears, well, maybe one gear. It was a moped. I actually had to like pedal to get it started. I rode 2 hours one way to school on that thing. It never went above 60 kilometers an hour. That's like 40 miles an hour. And yeah, 2 hours to school because the train took 2 hours and a half, and it was 5 different trains. So I opted for the motorcycle. I put this picture it's my dad's. I had to do it. We're a Rotary. 1984, my graduation day from the university in Tokyo. I was only one of 3 foreigners in my graduating class of 200 students. My classes were all in Japanese, and thus my grade point average was rather low. In Canada, Edmonton, Alberta, I couldn't ice skate. And I thought, well, I'm living in Canada, I got to do something Canadian. So what did I do? I took up curling. And I became a pretty decent curler, and I loved it. Every time after our matches, we'd go upstairs and drink beer for 2 hours before going outside and trying to scrape the ice off of our car when it was -4 out. And this is my first time in Argentina. 2015, Ushuaia, Argentina. I made it to the bottom of the world, and I thought I would never be back to Argentina. But a few days later, a few weeks later, I ended up meeting my wife, and now I've been back a lot. And this is more recent, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Has anybody been to Buenos Aires? Not so many.
Been to Argentina.
All the rest of you, you've missed your chance. We've had inflation. It's not cheap anymore. But Buenos Aires is famous for parks. We love our parks. So parks everywhere. We spend a lot of time at the park. And what a perfect picture. You see there's even palm trees. Could you believe there's palm trees in Buenos Aires? It still makes my head shake every time. And then we have our meat. It's very good. And this is a food truck festival. It's only about 10 minutes walk from our house. Comes and goes every, once in a while. Now we get to the real program, which is navigating life abroad from Tokyo to Buenos Aires and in between. So it's kind of an interactive program. These are all the topics. Everything in green you can choose from. And I will talk on one of these topics that you as the audience choose. And if you have a topic in mind that isn't there, feel free to shout that out too. I can probably talk about it. So what are we going to talk about first?
Banking.
Banking, okay. All right. So I actually wrote about 12 pages worth of stuff on all these topics, but I don't want to read it to you, so I just do have bullet points, so I don't want to miss anything. So this is something that the U.S. gets right, the banking system. Banking in the U.S. is so easy. And my entire life I've struggled with banking systems elsewhere. In Japan it was incredibly difficult. You get your bills in the mail, you'd have to go to the bank with all your bills in your hand once a month, and you would give them over to the lady at the counter, and behind this desk there's literally 30 women and one guy in the back, the boss. But the rest were all women shuffling all these papers, and I just couldn't understand how it all worked. But after waiting 20 minutes, you would go over to another counter, your name would be called, and you'd get your receipts back. And a few yen as well in change. I just really did not like that system. And then I got to Argentina. It's very different there. You go into a bank, and first of all, you have to know that it's illegal, literally illegal, to use your phone in the bank. So So what do they do to make up for this? They make you wait a long time. So you have literally nothing to do, and everybody is ADHD or whatever now. So like, what do we do without our phones for a long time? Then you have to go up to a kiosk and you have to put in your ID, your national ID. Everybody has a national ID card. And that's what everything gets done. So until I became a resident and got my national ID card, life there was difficult. Now it's much easier, as I do have that. But you put in your ID and then you go and you sit down. And you wait and you see people getting called up and they go in and then somebody that came in 15 minutes later than you gets called right away. And why is this? You don't know when your turn's really going to be because they pay for VIP service. So they don't have to wait. And I don't pay for anything. I don't have to, so I don't get that service. You cannot deposit money into your account unless with the teller, unless it's 2 million pesos or more. That's a lot of pesos, a lot of bills. And so if you don't have that much, you have to use the ATM. My wife has a real problem with the ATMs. They don't like her. She always claims that they count less than she put in. I tell her, no, that's not possible. She says, yes, it is possible. I learned not to argue with her. Now she always waits until she accumulates 2 million pesos before she goes so she can use the teller. I don't have a problem with the ATM. In 2023, we had hyperinflation. Well, even before that, we had inflation. And I have a thing on the economy, so I won't go into that too much detail, but the biggest bill was worth $2. You know what? In fact, I'll show you what that bill looked like. Yeah, this is it, 1,000 pesos. That was our biggest bill until 2023. Of course, a buck. All right? It's not really worth a buck any. It was $2 in 2023. It is not now. So the bank could not keep up. The government could not keep up. $1,000 bill, pesos was our biggest. It took them a year before they could come out with new money. People were carrying around stacks of money like this to pay for anything. And now we have a 20,000 peso bill. So it went from 1,000 to 20,000. Guess how much that 20,000 peso bill is worth? It's not $100, it's 14. That is our biggest bill. So we still walk around with a lot of cash. So that's my thing on banking. What's next? Medical. Okay. Let me get to my notes on medical. Okay. I've lived in 3 countries outside the U.S. And it might not be any surprise, but I don't have to pay for medical anywhere else. In Japan, it was free. It was universal. I think I had to pay a little bit, but it was a long time ago now. I don't quite remember. It's like 40 years ago. But it was very minimal, and I paid like each month like $20 or something. And you just went to the doctor when you needed to go to the doctor. In Canada, it really was free. And people say, oh yeah, Americans will push back and say, because they don't want to admit our system's not good. And they'll say, oh yeah, but you paid more taxes. Not true. I had a perfect situation because I had a job in Canada. I worked for a company there. At that time, the conversion rate was $1 to $1, and I transferred down to Atlanta with that same company. My salary stayed the same because the exchange rate was $1 to 1 to 1 at that time. And I paid my taxes for that, and my salary didn't change. Paid my taxes and compared, and I actually paid more in the U.S. than I did in Canada the prior year. So. It did take longer to get service, sometimes for elective things. But let's get to Argentina. They have a free system and a paid system. I don't spend all my time in Argentina, so it doesn't make sense for me to have a paid system that I have to pay every month. So I use the public system. Yes, the facilities are older. In fact, I remember the first time I had to go to the hospital in Argentina is when I crashed on my motorcycle in 2015. And I broke my leg, and I got taken by ambulance to this hospital. It wasn't in downtown Buenos Aires. It was about 2 hours away in a really modest-sized town, maybe like Olympia, maybe even bigger. Got to the hospital. I remember being pushed down the hallway on a gurney, and I'm looking up, and I see patches of blue sky through the holes in the ceiling. But don't be fooled. The doctors are great. I have a fantastic cardiologist there, nicest guy. He makes practically nothing, but he is so dedicated. He gave me his phone number to contact him personally with any questions. He sends Christmas cards, and he sends notes. We communicate back and forth with him. And even my surgeon, when I had my leg surgery, he gave me his phone number, and I connected with him directly. I mean, how great is that? My wife, on the other hand, she loves going to the doctor. She uses the doctor a lot. And so she pays for private care, which is faster, better service. She likes that, but she pays one fee a month, and she uses it as much as she wants. It's not like pay as whatever you use. So, yeah, I did get a root canal recently in Argentina. Cost me $100.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody want to go on a trip to Argentina? You can pay for your airplane ticket for the price of a root canal fee. So that's the tip of the day, okay? There's probably more I could say about it, but let's get on to another topic.
Buying a house.
What's that?
Buying a home.
Oh, okay, buying a house. This is fun because actually, when I lived in Japan, I was looking for a house. And we were shopping around, and then found out that it was to get a loan for a home was a 100-year mortgage. Yeah, you were committing your kids as kids to this mortgage. And I was very smart in not taking the bait. And that was before the housing crisis hit, or the bubble that they had. But recently, actually, and the reason I wasn't on the Zoom meetings so much between October and March was because my wife and I just bought a house in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. And so we were going through the process of shopping for one and buying one and then remodeling. Very interesting in Argentina because all real estate transactions are done in US dollars, even though it's pesos is the official currency. But and not only is it in US dollars, it's in cash.
Wow.
So imagine what we went through.
I'm not going to get much of a house.
I needed to go to the bank. I had to first find out how to get $300,000 to Argentina, which turned out to be pretty easy actually, but you have to have a US dollar bank account in Argentina under your name. As I'm a resident, I did have that, so that wasn't a problem. And in fact, in one day, I got the money there. And then, but the day of the signing, well, actually the day before the signing, because we're trying to be really careful, carrying around $300,000 isn't something you really enjoy doing, and it's not really that safe there necessarily. So we went to the bank, and I remember I had to ask the bank about 3 days in advance because they didn't have, in the branch there, they didn't have that much cash. They needed to order it from the central headquarters. Anyway, I get this backpack full of $300,000, backpack on, and Patri goes out to I stay inside the bank. She goes out and tries to hail a cab. Cabs come every minute there. But that day, no. But she had to wait 10 minutes for the cab. And I'm inside just peeking out, trying to see when the cab is coming. And as soon as she did get one, she opened the door. I ran out of the bank directly into the cab. And we're only 10-minute walk from home, but we figured, okay, a cab is going to be safer. So we get home. We didn't want to do it the same day because we didn't want anybody to follow us. So the next day, at the time it was to go to the signing, we had to go downtown, so a 20-minute cab ride. And so the taxi comes, we get in, that's it's okay. We get out of downtown, I run in the door. She gets out first, opens the door, makes to the building, making sure it's the right one and that I can get in. So anyway, we go up, and then there's like 7 people there for the closing. And the real estate agent had to bring a bill counting machine.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was so many bills, you could, if you went through it by hand, it would take forever. So I thought, okay, this is going to be fast with the bill counting machine. And they counted it, and they came up to the right amount of money. But then they go, and you know why they brought so many people? They went through every single bill to make sure there was no writing on it, that it wasn't ripped, because in Argentina, $100 is not worth $100 if it's all marked up and
Oh my
stuff.
gosh.
So it ended up taking some time. That was our house buying experience in Argentina.
Wow.
Anything else? What's next? Economy. Okay, the economy. I hate talking about the economy. It's so gloom. But let's see. We had the highest. What's the highest inflation rate the U.S. has experienced in modern time? How much?
18.
Well, ChatGPT told me it was 15%. So let's go with that. That was back in 1980, and I remember that time. So in Argentina, since about 2015, inflation started going up, and it was hovering right around 40 to 50% for 4 years, 5 years. Then we had 100% inflation in 2022, and then in 2023, early 2024, it hit 300%. This becomes a big, big problem. When we would leave for just 3 months, leave the country for 3 months, we still had to cover all of our bills. We could not figure out how much our bills were going to be. And if we converted, by the way, just to back up a little bit, we live on US dollars. We don't earn income in Argentina, we don't make pesos, so all of our money comes from US dollars we take there. There's a black market rate, there's a black market for US dollars there, because the government won't let people buy US dollars. So if they're going on vacation or out of the country, they can't go to the bank and just say, hey, I want money. I want US dollars to go on my trip or whatever, or to buy a house even. You couldn't get the money. So you go to these dealers that are black market, and people pay more to get the dollars because they can't get it any other way. And at times it was 300% of the official rate. And so when we needed to get money to cover our accounts when we were going to be gone for 3 months, first we had to try to figure out how much those bills were going to be, and then we had to figure out how much we had to convert to get that. And if you converted too much, it's sitting in the bank in pesos, which are losing value at 300% a year. It was a nightmare. Of course, restaurants stopped posting prices. Grocery stores stopped posting prices. You just paid whatever they told you to pay. It was really bad. That is why we now have a president named Milei. Certifiably crazy, okay? He is loco. You know, he is really loco. If you haven't checked into some of his videos on YouTube, try it out. It's quite hilarious. But he's done what we need, what has to be done there to try to get inflation under control, and he's been very successful. We're now down to 40% inflation rate again. Yay. But the problem this time, because from 2014, a bottle of wine was $1.75 for me in US dollar terms. In 2022, it was still $1.75 because as there was inflation, the exchange rate also went up. So I could get as much from my dollar to buy that same bottle of wine. But we had hyperinflation 2023-24 with Millet coming in and changing his policies. He's changed the policies in such a way that the black, we call it blue dollar, but I'll say black market because you're familiar with that, is almost the same now as the official rate. Basically the same. So we don't have any advantage anymore in that regard. So now the $1.75 bottle of wine is long gone. Literally everything has gone in US dollar terms now up 3 to 4 times what it was. So our cost of, and we live off US dollars, so our cost of living there now in just 2 years has gone up 3 to 4 times. Makes it, it's still, some things are still cheaper in Argentina. A lot of things are still cheaper, but some things are more expensive. Like a can of Coke. I don't drink Coke when I'm in there because it costs $1.25 a can, and I can get it here for 50 cents, and I'm not going to pay $1.25. I don't care how thirsty I am, I'm not doing it. Joe's smiling because he knows me very well, and he knows how I don't like to waste money. Yeah.
Are they doing crypto down there yet?
Oh yeah, there's crypto there. I don't know anything about it though. I just know we've had people that are unemployed that say, oh, I'm doing crypto now. Anyway, the economy's really bad. Our friends that used to be able to go to dinner with us, they're hardworking people, they work all the time. They save their, they don't waste money, and they can't go to dinner with us anymore. So it's very sad. Yeah. Okay. So many more things to talk about, but we're out of time, so, and I want to give time for some questions. So, next month, in a few weeks, I can't wait, I'm getting back on my bike, I'm going to ride around like Europe, some 7 or 8 countries, but this is where I feel most alive, is on my motorcycle in remote places. Any questions? Got a few minutes for questions.
How do you get your bike to the different countries?
Well, I used to ride it. I used to ride it, and then when I got to Argentina, I flew it on a plane to Germany. Then from Germany, you can ride all the way to Vietnam, which I did. But now I keep one bike in Europe, and in Germany, I park it there. So when I go to Europe, I can ride there and have a bike here in Olympia, which I use for the Americas.
Nice.
Where do you keep it in Europe?
Roger.
What kind of bike do you have, and where in Europe do you keep it?
My bike is a Triumph. I have a Triumph here and a Triumph there. The Triumph is, for those that like motorcycles, the Triumph Rally Pro, Tiger Rally Pro 900, and I keep it at a place in Heidelberg, Germany. It's like my 4th home. I love going there. The guy has a big warehouse that holds 500 motorcycles, and people like me park their bikes there and want to ride in the summer and then leave it there for the next year. Yeah.
Africa. Have you been to Africa?
I have been to Africa, yes.
What part?
On my motorcycle, I've been on through, let's see, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and that's all on the motorcycle. Yeah, and then the rest I've been all over by backpack.
So did crashing your bike in 2015 lead to meeting your wife?
Absolutely, absolutely. I tell her I'll break my leg again. I was waiting for surgery. I was sitting by the pool of the hotel with a cast on my leg and crutches, and hadn't got a haircut for 8 months, and she came up to me and saw me sitting there, and she, with not knowing Spanish or anything, she came up to me, and she was on a spa day, and she's asked if she could help me.
Oh, that was nice.
Sweet.
So,
Sweet.
yeah.
So
Yeah, David.
So how did you get residency in Argentina?
Just by marrying Patri. Yeah, I'm trying to get my citizenship there. That's turning out to prove harder. But I'm not giving up because I want to go to North Korea and I can't do it with an American passport. Anything else? We're done? All right, thank you.
That was great, thank you. Okay,